Hello and welcome to this discussion on Industry Spotlight with Creative First. Our guest today is Kapil Agarwal, founder Bucks Out Advisory LLP. He is an industry veteran in launching and managing companies spanning different sectors like technology, venture capital financing, gaming, logistics, and media. He became the youngest CEO in the Modi Group at 30 and was subsequently part of the leadership team with Apollo Tyres Group. His last assignment was as joint managing director with UFO Movies, where his expertise resulted in turning around the company, launching multi country operations, and establishing its leadership position in these countries, in addition to acquiring and integrating multiple companies with UFO and successfully raising capital. He now runs a strategic advisory practice, Bucks Out Advisory, which is actively engaged with a number of international companies based out of North America, Europe, Australia, and Middle East, operating in sectors as diverse as media, cybersecurity, digital cinema, IoT, SAS, etc. He is the recipient of the CA Business Leader Award, SME Sector from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, the Special Achievement Award from IMAX Big Cinema Expo in Chennai, and the Business Excellence Award from Indigood Billionaires Club in Mumbai. He is a chartered accountant by profession. Kapil, welcome to this discussion.
Thank you. Thank you for a very long and lovely introduction. Thanks for that. I really didn't know that I'm that good.
You're always good. And it's really amazing to have an industry veteran like you in the media and entertainment industry who has had such a diverse experience, because sectoral experience really, helps contribute to other industries. What are some major evolutions that you've seen in the industry with regard to advertising, distribution, and production?
I think the biggest evolution has been the digitization of the films. And that is exactly what we did in UFO. So when we started this digitization concept in UFO in 2005, we were not aware of what is happening in Hollywood, for example. We never looked outwards because India itself was a big enough market. And at that time, I think we used to make seven or 800 movies we used to release every year. We never depended on the Hollywood films, because hardly, I think at that time 20 Hollywood films used to be released in India way back in 2005. So we were looking more at domestic industry. So we created our own technology, and we saw a dream that digitization is something which is going to change the fate of the industry, because a blockbuster at that point of time, which was made by, say, Yashji, a blockbuster would go to probably 500 reels. With 500 reels, it would release. And a small Marathi movie or a Bhojpuri movie will release with 10 to 20 reels. So that was the fate. I remember Page 3 released with 60 prints. And there was a huge demand in the market. But by the time you produce the print, and send the print, a week is gone. So that was the basic case of digitization. So we oversaw that digitization, and I think we ended up with we spearheaded it from UFO, initially with e-cinema technology of our own, where we could deliver movies into theaters via satellite. And then we adopted the DCI technology, because that was needed in the country. And we became the largest player in UFO, both in e-cinema and D-cinema, and capturing over 55% of the market share, having worked with all from a PVR, Inox, Cinepolis to the smallest theater in the smallest village. And I think that was the biggest thing. And the second question which you asked about advertising, media space. So advertising was we conceived UFO as a media project, as an advertising project, actually. So we saw a dream. Sanjay Gaikwad, who was the founder, he saw a dream that when we do provide digital equipment and digital technology to a cinema, we will actually give everything free, and we should pay cinema for that. And that would happen only by making the advertising national. Imagine, a Coke and Pepsi or a Group M, talking to 5,000 independent theaters or 6,000 independent theaters and writing 6,000 contracts and send their reel, make a reel and advertise. Impossible. And this is exactly, we consolidated that in UFO, and we spearheaded that. Then other players did follow us, and advertising became one of the biggest money spinner. If today, from UFO, you or any other national chain, if you remove the advertising revenue, there is no. I think there all balance sheets will be in red. So advertising became, because of digitization, a very significant source. And obviously the fate of the theaters changed, because a movie which they would get after 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 2 months, 4 months, they started getting day and date. That's what actually changed the fate of the film industry. And the lot of financial support for this digitization came actually from the advertising. So a lot
That's
of
fantastic.
changes happened.
Post pandemic, how has the consumption of cinema changed from a consumer perspective? And, what do you think should evolve from a theater experience perspective?
To put it broadly, the change is uh, that the taste of the people changed. They got exposed to more interesting content. So, secondly, people know today that a movie is going to come in 6 or 8 weeks on the OTT platform. So, people don't want to spend money on small movies. So, people now would go to only two kinds of cinemas. That's what the change we are seeing. That one, they will go only for good content, even if that is a small movie, very interesting content, or for which they don't want to wait for 6 or 8 weeks. And second, experiential content. So today, when an avatar comes, you will not see an avatar or a Top Gun on an OTT platform. You would definitely like to see. And that is exactly where technology is going to play more and more and greater role in the future movie making. And the movie making has to change. So if you have observed that all the movies, Indian Hindi movies particularly, and a lot of Telugu and Tamil movies, actually, which were started pre-pandemic and released post-pandemic, they failed. They did not work on the box office because people's taste in the meantime had changed. So now when the movies are being made with a lot of technology, a lot of fanfare, so people will go for experience or good content. So I think that is a very big change which is happening, and that is where the industry is going. So you will still see a lot of footfalls. So pre-pandemic, I think 2019, 146 crore tickets were sold. I don't think 146 crore tickets will be sold, but still we will see 110, 120 crore tickets sold. But they will not be spread across too many movies. So, like for example, I think Pathan itself saw some 4.5 to 5 crore footfalls. I was just looking at the data in last 7 months. Uh, Top 20 movies had 30 crore plus eyeballs. So if I extrapolate that, top 50 movies will still have 60, 70 crore footfalls. And the balance 1400 movies will probably have 30, 40 crore footfalls. So that is the kind of, shift which is happening now. But still we will see those 120, 110, 120 crore tickets sold in the country. That's my take.
Kapil, you mentioned, on one hand, you said that consumer taste has changed and, they're not going to just go for a theater experience if the content is not good. But on the other hand, we also know pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, we are one of the, lowest in terms of screen density, India as a country. So do you see a scope for more affordable cinema where they don't start equating it with OTT? It becomes as easily accessible as OTT. And also at the same time, it will improve the screen density in the country.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one, when we go down, so that in India there are no rural cinemas at all. So all the so-called 9,000 screens are in top 1,500 cities,
And very less of them in each.
and very less of them in each. So, but a large geography of the country, like I would say any city which has any place which has a population of more than say 25, 30,000 people, they need a cinema. So there is a huge need for this rural cinema or the affordable cinema in the country, and according to me, easily 15 to 20,000 screens can be accommodated, which won't be the multiplex experience, but which will be a good experience And surprisingly, I noticed one thing. I did a lot of touring, because in UFO we are also spearheading one of the projects in putting up these 10, 15,000 cinemas called Nova Cinema. And when I visited various villages and all, so the common question they had was, "Sir, we are prepared to pay 100 rupees." I asked them, I said, "Will you pay 60 rupees for watching the cinema?" They said, "No, we'll pay 100 rupees, but cinema should be air conditioned." So that is the aspirational value. This is my own experience. When I've visited villages, talked to people, they say we'll pay 100 rupees, but it should be air conditioned. So that is the aspirational value. And I think cinema is an aspiration. And listen, in the villages, in the small places, in the rural areas, category 3, 4 towns also, where is the OTT? How many people subscribe to the OTT at the end of the day? And cinema going is an experience. So when we talk about experiential cinema, that is more in the bigger towns. You and I are probably not going to go for a small movie anymore. We will still look for an Avatar or Top Gun or a Pathan or a kind of a movie, or emotional movies like Kashmir Files or now the Kerala story, for example. But outside of that, people in the smaller places, they want to go out, but they don't have the avenues. So easily this country can take another 15 to 20,000 screens.
What
Small
are the challenges that's preventing private players, investing in such areas? Because from my experience, we've been talking about this for years, almost a decade. And, there must be some challenges that's stopping the screen density from growing.
So, can I be a little frank here? So, I think, okay, one of the problem has been the regulation. This sector is over regulated when you need 30, 40, 50 approvals. So, one is the challenge, and that is what at UFO we are doing a lot of work with the government, and we are talking about the standard approval. That you give the approval for a particular format, and then it should be a one-time approval, and then no, so long as we adhere to that format, you should not be giving approval, and that is where you can do the plug and play, like McDonald's or Pizza Hut. You can open the cinemas. So I think the biggest impediment has been the regulation, and the right people are not talking about it in the corridors of power.
So coming back to the statement that you made, I think, from a exhibitor's perspective, what needs to change? I mean, is the government has announced a model theater policy, and it's going to ease, the business of opening new cinemas, etc. What will it take to get that traction from players, actually going forward and implementing certain things based on the policy? Or even participating in creating that robust policy?
As I said, the at the policy level also, as I said, that either it is the content people like the guild and MPA, or the multiplex chains have been talking about. The multiplex chains in a very forum, I saw people from the national multiplex chains or the content representatives. Now, neither of them are interested in the rural cinema, or they are not, in a position. So, content side is not in a position to invest in the business of cinema in rolling out the infrastructure.
Yes.
So to that extent, although they are very, very relevant and interested party, because without content, no cinema will run. But they are not going to be the people, who are going to be investing in the infrastructure. And the national chains are interested only in top 150, 200, 250, 300 cities. Because if they go below that, their model doesn't work for that. So I think it's a different set of people who need to be present on these forums, and the people who will really invest in the infrastructure, people who are capable of handling that kind of a growth. So I think the set
Do
of
you
people.
feel, or do you see any stakeholders that you described present? Do you see such players really operating today to make this investment?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So I'll tell you one thing. Uh, it does not. You see, investment is not a challenge in this country at all. So today you have to create, as I said, a McDonald's kind of a model or a Pizza Hut kind of a model, where or a Marriott kind of a model, where the hotel chains, the Pizza Hut, they don't own the theater, they don't own the outlets, the QSR outlets. McDonald's doesn't own the outlets. They have only created a model. And once you create that model, uh, you have to basically work with the franchisees. Today, you go out, every village, every town, every person. You see, owning a cinema in a city is a matter of honor in smaller places. You see, even in bigger places, it used to be an honor at one point of time because when anybody wanted a ticket, even today I've seen, even I make a call to PVR CEO when I want to go to a popular movie and I'm not getting a seat. So in the smaller cities, it's a matter of honor. So there are enough local people who own the land. So land is a big challenge, who are willing to invest, who have a son or a son-in-law sitting idle who doesn't have anything to do, who needs a direction, and there is enough money available locally. So I think what will work if you want to see the proliferation of screens in India, multiplication of screens, which has had happened, which has had taken off in last 15 years of my presence in this industry. On every forum, we have shouted and it hasn't happened, unfortunately, is the franchise model. That is the only model which will work, where you find, so long as you want to control it, you want to own it, you want to manage it, you want to find the money, you want to find the land, it won't happen. So it's the franchise model which will really work, and wherein, there are enough people countrywide in every city. There will be competition for putting these cinemas if you have the right model and the right regulation helps them. We go to the I&B ministry. We have been going for so many years, and they said, "Listen, this is a state subject, and we can't direct the state. We can give an advisory to the state, but states follow their own rules." So some pragmatic states like UP is doing a lot of work. Maharashtra is trying to do it. They have to come up and create a model, and once that model is created, at a state level, not at a central level. And I don't think that any subsidy is required. Subsidy is a bad word. We don't need money from the government. You don't need any subsidy. You only need support in terms of regulation. And 15 to 20,000, you will see another 10 to 15,000 screens coming up in no time.
Tell us more about Bucks Out. And of course, it's a very unique name. What made you come up with this initiative?
Well, I can't take the credit because when I left UFO and I wanted to launch something, and I was sitting on a dinner table with my family, my son, my daughter. My daughter lives in US. She's a fashion photographer. She was in India at that time, and I said, "What should be the name?" And she said, "Bucks Out."
Okay.
Even I was shocked. I said, "What is Bucks Out?" She said, "Listen, you always think out of the box. A box is called Baksa in Hindi. So Bucks Out." Bucks out means it is out of the box. And second, she said, bucks is money. So media and entertainment industry, I am doing a lot of work. So one is that, so first non-media, um, so I am now working in a joint venture with an Australian company, which is in IoT SaaS space for the utility sector, water, gas, power, solar energy, electricity. So make all those dumb meters intelligent, and they have a very sophisticated SaaS platform with 60 patents. So they are working in the APEC region: Taiwan, Korea, Japan, Australia. So I said, pick up these successful technologies which are working successfully elsewhere and bring them to the Indian market, where we talk about millions and millions of connections. So if there you talk about 1 million, here you talk about 20 million straight away. So we can multiply, and in the technology, once the technology investment has taken place and once it is successfully working, then at a very cost-effective price we can proliferate it. So one is that company, other is a cyber security company out of US, which has cracked a formula which is because cyber security is becoming very serious now worldwide. So that is the other one. And third company is an artificial intelligence company out of Silicon Valley. And that company is basically experts in crowd management through video technology, crowd management, security. So they are right now working on 7 airports in America, for example, in the US. They are working with a lot of schools, car wash in the US. So I am now working on bringing them to India and Middle East. So these are the three different projects apart from other small things. In the media sector, there are some very interesting developments happening. So first we talked about advertising. We took advertising to a different level in cinema, which was non-existent, pre 2005. Uh, by digitizing, we brought advertising to, and we, today the advertising in pre-pandemic was around 800 crores, which is still 1% of the overall advertising spend in the country, less than 1%. Uh, Worldwide is 2.5 to 3%. So that means this 800 crores should be 2,500 crores. Why that is not happening? Because worldwide, advertising is sold by a single agency for all cinemas. So uh, in US, for example, NCM, National Cinema Media, out of 40,000 screens, around 30,000 screens are with National Cinema Media, and another 8 or 9,000 screens are with Screen Vision. So there are only two agencies in the entire US. India is the only country in the world where every national chain sells their own advertising, UFO sells their own advertising, Cube sells their own advertising. So I came out of UFO, and now I have launched a company along with Mr. Raj Nayak, in partnership with Raj Nayak, and we have a joint venture called Big Impact Media LLP, where all the national chains, UFO, Q, everybody has agreed to work with us. And now we are working on this venture where we want to actually multiply the advertising. Because imagine a, an advertisement playing. So the way we are doing it is we are working on a channel strategy. Channel strategy means, like, for example, if you sponsor a big boss, you pay 35-40 crores. 35-40 crores you pay, and it's a 13-week program on one channel out of hundreds of channels, and delivers 20-22 crore eyeballs at the end. Imagine if you give me 35 crores, I'll make sure that your advertisement is present in every screen, every show in the country for the whole year. Every PVR, every Inox, every Cinepolis, every UFO, every Cube, north to south, east to west. Just imagine, seen by 120 crore people in that environment. So that is what we have just launched this company, Big Impact Media LLP.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So we are now doing a lot of work in the media space in enhancing the bottom line of all the chains, because these are challenging times for all the cinema industry, with the falling footfalls, with the movies, not all the movies doing very well, which we discussed about the content and all, but still we are delivering 120 crore eyeballs. That is very important. So that is one company that we have launched. And couple of developments which I am working on, which Bucksout is working on, is in the technology space. So one, when we started the DCI rollout, it was way back in 2007-8. Major rollout happened in between 2009 and 2014 when under the VPF program of the Hollywood studios. 140,000 screens, 140,000 screens were transitioned from analog to digital between 2008-9 to 2014. And imagine what was put in 2009 is now 15-year-old, 14-year-old. Technology has leapfrogged from lamp technology. It is all laser now. The projectors have become much more efficient. These projectors have lived their life in 15 years. So imagine 140,000 projectors in next 5 years, starting now, are becoming obsolete. The power consumption in the laser is 1/3 of the lamp, and there is no lamp cost. So no lamp, 1/3 power consumption, that itself saving pays for a new laser projector, but there is no money. So I am working on that very ambitious project globally, that how to, and I have done substantial work on that and about to launch it worldwide, and where we will help cinemas replace their older generation projectors with the latest projectors. That is one, and we are working on a model where we just charge on an hourly basis. So you earn money and you pay money. So like in UFO, we launched a model which was a pay per show model, and you are charging a small monthly rental from the exhibitors. Similarly, an improved version of that I'm trying to launch here. And the third project in media which I am working on is the so everybody can't still afford this laser, because ultimately the laser projectors, new projectors are very expensive. So even that hourly charges will not be affordable for everybody. So now there are other technology developments which have happened, uh, wherein you replace the lamp unit with a laser unit,
Right.
and that cost is less than a third of the new projector cost, and the projector is good for next 7 years, the old projector, and you still have the benefit of zero lamp cost and one third electricity cost. So these are the pretty much three projects which I am working on for last few months, and most of them are now coming to the point of fruition.
You really are carving out a new niche, for theater transformation. But, as you unveil the next chapter for the theater industry, how do you see Metaverse, kind of playing a huge role of it? Will Metaverse play a role in the first place? Do you see some kind of an infusion of Metaverse technologies in creating a better cinema experience?
I think uh, so. As I said, that movie business for audiences, it is all going to be experiential aspiration now. People will go for experience. So I think the VR, AR, metaverse, use of technology, more and more use of technology you are going to see in the cinema making. And a lot of costs are going into cinema making, because even today, when you see an avatar, what is an avatar actually? Just see how much of money goes into technology, or uh, you know, any other big movie which is made. There is so much of technology goes into it. So I think technology in all its forms, a lot of artificial intelligence is going to be used. Now you see, today we are talking everywhere about AI in art, AI in photography. So I think AI, VR experiences, AR experiences, metaverse, all this is going to contribute to creation of that experience, so that the audiences come back to the cinemas. That's my take on it.
You did mention the role of different stakeholders, the right stakeholders. You mentioned, how better regulations can change the face of the industry. But if we really have to create a roadmap for the theater industry for the next 10 years, what would be some of your key, pointers to achieve that? Very, very successful motion picture industry through theaters.
I think I have already said it. I heard Mr. Karan Johar hearing, I think 5 or 6 years back, that we should have 1,000 crore, you know, uh, collection from a movie. And at that point of time, I think the highest collection was probably 300 crores. We have already breached 500 crores. But that's one of the rare movies. Unless we have another 15, 20,000 screens. And if you have 15 to 20,000 screens at any price point, you will start seeing this 1,000 crore, collection. And for that, the infrastructure development, investment in the screens is very, very important. And I think I touched upon this. As I said, you don't need money for this. All you need is anchors who can create these franchisees. There is enough money, there is enough interest. We have seen it ourselves. At UFO, we are working on this Nova Cinema concept, and we are already working on multiple projects and working with the local partners. We are not investing money. We are only investing small money to start with, to encourage first 50 franchisees, and then it's a proliferation which should be happening. I think we need to do a lot of work at the state level, then on the central level, because of the way the regulations are, because cinema is a state subject, and we need to pick up top 3 or 4 states like Maharashtra, friendly states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, UP, to create that pilot and have the single window approval, create the one or two models, that so long as the model is conforming to this is single window approval, you don't need any further approval. Adhere to this self-regulation franchise model, it will proliferate. I'm very confident about it, and I'm very clear about it.
Thank you so much for sharing amazing insights and also sharing with us the capabilities of your new venture. I wish you all the best and look forward to speaking with you very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.